Hello! Welcome to my channel. How are you today? Get ready for a journey inside our skulls because this series of videos will be about brains and additionally learning. So, mainly we will take a look at how the brain has become what it is today, the human brain's magic, sometimes suffering, parts and functions of the human brain, some interesting cases, and how the brain learns, and a brief part about how we can use our brain's functions to learn even better. It's going to be a long but a bountiful knowledge adventure, so here we go. First of all, let's take a quick look at nervous systems. A lot of animals have nervous systems which are incredibly diverse and complex. These systems are responsible for coordinating an animal's actions and sensory information by transmitting signals to and from different parts of its body. Now, let's think about a jellyfish drifting gracefully with the currents of the ocean. Look at it. Its translucent body allows us to see its internal structures, crystal clear. Or these, looking like stained glass. Why do they look like art but we're just hairless primates? No tails, no wings, only plus fingers. Anyway, back to the jellyfish. It can't have a nervous system somewhere inside there, right? Wrong, it does. A lot of things that you wouldn't think have nervous systems actually do, such as corals, sea anemones, hydras. They all have nervous systems. Look at these little guys. It's hard to believe they're animals. I wish I could touch one. Boop. Their nervous systems are called diffuse nervous systems, and they work like a net, and naturally differently from ours. I'm not a neuroscientist and simply can't comprehend the detailed structural functions of this type of system, but briefly, nerve cells are distributed all around the body instead of some of them gathering at the center. That's why it's described as a net of nerve cells. They sense their environment and react to it by using muscle contractions to move. Yep. Their nervous systems, though simpler than those of many other animals, are perfectly adapted to their needs, allowing them to sense their environment and respond to it in ways that seem almost magical. Not sea anemones though, that's not magical, that's horrifying.
Race is a gift.
So, what's our nervous system called? A centralized nervous system. Centralized nervous systems have a collection of nerves that could be considered the captain of the organismic system, the brain. What organisms got a taste of centralized nervous systems? Bugs, fish, crustaceans, reptiles, amphibians, birds, mammals. Good old brains provide all of us with a bonus in sensory and motor skills. This means our interaction with the environment becomes more efficient and we have greater finesse in this interaction. Because of that difference, diffuse nervous systems are considered a little primitive. Okay, to picture this better, let's set an example. Think about an animal that has a diffuse nervous system. An example could be corals. Some having a little bite of micro sea animal salad, some numbing on the sunlight thanks to their friendship with algae living on them. Every day is calm and nice, just chillin'. They move when the need arises. Take a look at this one published on BBC's channel. It's upside down, then boop, back to normal. Now, let's find an animal that you would consider a little rudimentary, but still with a central nervous system. Like a hermit crab. Maybe we wouldn't think they can have complex behavior if we saw one on the beach, but they do. See, hermit crabs grow and mold their exoskeleton, and they could be seen in sizes as tiny as this one, or as a chunky boy, like this. Of course, their shells don't grow with them, and when they outgrow their shells, they have to get new, better-fitting ones. In such cases, they're sometimes seen gathering at beaches to swap their shells with each other. They line up from smallest to the biggest, and they all wait for each other to be set in the line. Then the swapping process begins and ends when everybody has a new and a better home. This whole process, of course, requires a distinct coordination of actions and reactions. Thanks to central nervous systems, hermit crabs are able to adopt more complex behaviors.
Can I ask you kind of a weird question?
How did our brains end up like this wrinkly mystery meat nestling inside our craniums? We'll begin with flatworms. The simplest net of connected nerve cords and a cephalic nerve collection can be observed in flatworms, such as planaria. Planaria have two little eyes at the top of their heads, so they can sense the environment better, and I also love the deeply shocked expression. These startled little guys mostly live in freshwater and feed on other small organisms. Their nervous system looks like this: bilateral nerve cords and the brain here. Even though they might appear simple and unremarkable, they have what we can call a superpower: regeneration. When cut into pieces, each piece can regenerate into a completely grown body. What? Isn't this amazing? With the help of stem cells found all over their bodies, and with a little help from some genes, one planarian can become a civilization of planaria. At the next step, we have some organisms with more complex central nervous systems. Respectively, worms, mollusks, and bugs can be given as examples of that. Then we have vertebrates. What all vertebrates have in common is a more functional nervous system with a spinal cord, a skull, and a brain. We're fancy like that. Vertebrate brains can take many shapes and forms. We all have two parts in our nervous systems: peripheral and central. The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord, serving as the control center for processing and sending information throughout the body. The peripheral nervous system includes all the nerves outside the central system. It connects the central nervous system to limbs and organs, facilitates communication between the brain and the rest of the body. Shortly, this part is for the captain, this part is for the tinkly-winkly sensations of the world. It could be said that most parts are basically more or less similar in all mammals. If you shift your focus on classes, families, or genera, you'll be able to see more similarities within those, of course. As mammals, our cat's brains share more common traits with ours than with crocodiles' brains. So, what makes our Homo sapiens brains comparatively more complex and capable of more? Its size, or maybe the brain-to-body ratio? No. Sperm whales have the largest brains, weighing at 8 kilograms, and brain-to-body ratio winner is tree shrew with 1 to 10. Our brains only weigh around 1.5 kilograms, and our ratio is only 1 to 50. Neuron count? Yes, and also no. Yes, neuron count certainly affects an organism's brain activity capacity, and we have a lot of neurons compared to most other species. But we can say that's the reason because we have the case of elephants. The species with the highest neuron count is the African elephant, boasting approximately around 257 billion neurons. This surpasses the neuron count of humans, who have about 86 billion neurons. Our neurons are a little different than other animals. They're larger than most animals, but not the largest. They're stacked better thanks to wrinkles, but not the best stacking method out there again. The same goes for complexity, cranial capacity, and brain plasticity. Briefly, our brains are not the best, but generally pretty good at a lot of categories. Why don't we see another species with better neurological abilities at the same capacity as us? What gives us the right?
What gives you the right?
Our physical finesse. We're able to move on different terrains, use various tools, socialize, vocalize. Yeah, we're not artsy like jellyfish, but the combination of perks of our brains and that bodily finesse opened the gate of world domination for our species. Yay.
This is fine.
That raises the question, how did our brains become that different from other mammals? There are a couple of theories about that too. One theory suggests that the biggest leap in brain size occurred during a period of significant climate change, leading researchers to believe that drastic environmental conditions may have prompted humans to use their brains more efficiently for survival. Another theory is about us being able to control fire. Since we started cooking our food, our brains took another giant leap. Cooking food increases its caloric value, which allowed early humans to get more calories in one sitting. Consequently, our bodies no longer required large digestive systems for processing raw food. Less became more. The energy spent to maintain our bigger digestive system was traded off to our brains. A similar compromise occurred between our muscle mass and brains. Our muscle mass heavily decreased, whereas our brains got so large, now they demanded 20% of our oxygen supply and blood flow when it used to be just 2%. Just compare us with some of our other primate fellas. They look like they could rip you in half if they wanted to, and they probably can too. Fortunately, thanks to this trait, we possess the cognitive capacity to imagine such things rather than physically enact them. Additionally, it seems that some mutations in our genes accelerated our neural development, such as HARE5 or HARE5. This particular gene gives neuron cell division a boost. There is even a theory suggesting our neocortex gained this intense functionality due to accidental consumption of psychedelic mushrooms. According to this theory, early humans somehow consumed these, and that supported the development of our specialized neocortex with bonus skills in language, imagination, and abstract reasoning. But yeah, we can't be sure of that. Yep, I think that wraps up our brain's evolution. In the second part of this series, I will talk about parts and functions of the brain. So that will come soon, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have additional information about these, please leave a comment. I would love to read it, because I need to learn everything I can. That's my defense mechanism in life. And I still don't know how to do outros, so bye!